Namaste, Katja.
Namaste, dear ladies and gentlemen, and namaste, Dr. Kausthub Desikachar. Warmly welcome all of you on yet another interview with Dr. Kausthub Desikachar, yoga teacher, yoga therapist, a spiritual healer, a mentor. He has students all over the world, and his ancestors are really very strong energetically, so we are very glad that we connect to them, and also warmly welcome to all of them. Your father and your grandfather and all the others, so a little bit different.
They're all behind me in the bookshelf because most of the books are from my ancestors.
Great. So the introduction was right. And let me introduce myself. I am Katja Ujcic. I'm a yoga therapist. I'm a student of Kausthub Desikachar also. And I am an art therapist, a therapist for gifted, and a coach. And I am always enjoying putting on grill Dr. Kausthub Desikachar, he would put it. And ask him questions about things that we don't, of course, know, but the things that are a little bit more mysterious, and it's very good for us to know. So first, thank you very much. Merlin Morneau is with us, and she's saying that she's happy to see and hear both of us. So thank you very much. Amanda, hello. So today we are going to talk about love in the time of conflict. I received many messages, and you post also on Facebook that this is a very good title, but yet is best to come because Dr. Kausthub Desikachar is going to tell us all about love. Isn't this nice? What do you think, Kausthub?
You are putting me on the spot and making my life very difficult, but it's not new, so I will do my best. As always, I try my best.
Of course, but let's first start with the chant, Kausthub, today, that will maybe connect us to love or whatever.
I will do a chant that is dedicated to the moon, and because many people believe that the moon is very strongly connected with love, especially when people get married. They go to what is called a honeymoon. They don't go to a honey sun. They go to a honeymoon. So it looks like there is a connection between the moon and love. So I will do a moon chant.
Okay.
Oshadhaya sagum samoshadhaya Oshadhaya samvadante vadante samoshadhaya Oshadhaya samvadante vadante sagum samvadante somena vadante sagum samvadante somena vadante somena vadante somena saha somena vadante somena saha somena saha somena saharajnya saha somena saharajnya 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 rajyete Rajya Om Shante Shante Shante.
Thank you. Namaste. So with this gorgeous chant, we are welcoming also Kasturi and Sarah. Hello, Sarah and Erika. Hello, dear ladies. How are you? So we are all here today for the talk with Dr. Kausthub Desikachar about love. And of course, the first question about that, Kausthub, would be, what are your experiences on that field?
So very dangerous question already in the beginning. But it's more important to understand what kind of love you are talking about. Because this word in English, love, is very strange, because in English you have people who say that they love their car, they love their bike, they love their camera, they love their dog, they love their cat. Um, so, and the same way they also say that they love their wife or their husband or children or mother. So, for me, this word is a bit confusing, and so I don't know which kind of love experiences you're asking about me. So let me first clarify what I feel or what I understand about this word love, and then maybe I will try to share with you the experiences that resonate with such an understanding. So, more and more as I become older now, I realize that love is an acknowledgement of the divine that is present in our heart. And in a way, if we are saying that we are in love with something or somebody, it's basically an acknowledgement of the divine that is in our heart, making a very deep and strong connection with the divine in another person's heart as well. So, when that channel of connection is established, this feeling or this concept of love is always giving us an expansive feeling and more prana. So, in a way, love is an expansion of prana. And that's why I like to clarify this, because a lot of the people confuse attachment to love. Attachment withdraws or reduces prana, it's a very restrictive feeling. Whereas the concept of love as a connection, where I define love as an acknowledgement of the divine in each other's heart and a connection from that place to the other, that will always be expansive. That's why when a mother is loving her child or a father is loving their child, they go to great extents to take care of the child, to protect the child. I've just been watching this morning the news, a documentary about one mother who has tried to cross the border from Central America all the way to North America to as a refugee. And what great extents she has gone to so that her daughter can get a better life. That is love. That is not an attachment. Because if it is based on an attachment, the moment a difficult situation arises, the people will pack off. So if when I define this way as love, I can say that I have been very privileged that I have experienced this love many times with many people. And I've also experienced the opposite, what is called attachment, with different people as well. And I'm very fortunate that I've experienced this concept of love that as I've defined with my family members, like my mother, like my father, very early, very strong in my life, my daughter, as well as my partner, and some of my animal friends, some of my students, some of my classmates, some of my friends. Because when that connection happens, it's not based on the ego at all. It's not based on who you are, what you can offer me, what you cannot offer me, what is the advantage if I'm in love with you, what is the disadvantage. Those calculations which are intellectual, they disappear. And I'm really very, very privileged that I have had this great opportunity to experience this. And in all of this comes what is called romantic love as well, the love of a partner towards a partner. And this is also something that I have the great luxury and blessing to experience. And I think this is very important in our life as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so I meant yes with the question about romantic love, but this was a very good answer, Kausthub. So now we know what love is. So can you please explain us? You did explain a little bit already. What is then the conflict?
The conflict is coming because we are not acknowledging the presence of the divine in each other, and we are acting from a place of attachment and ego. And why would there be a conflict, let's say, with somebody I love or somebody I care for? Is because they're not agreeing with whatever I am doing or whatever I'm saying and things like that. That is part of the problem. Love does not imply that we are all must be on the same path in the same field. We have to
Mm-hmm.
agree on everything. There can be differences of opinion, different points of view, and still there can be a lot of love, a lot of affection, a lot of care. Um, I have the most love I have for in this world is my daughter, and there are so many things that I disagree with her. And my daughter and I, we have a very, very profound bond, even energetically, because we were born in the same hospital, in the same room, delivered by the same daughter just about 30 years ago. So imagine we have this strong energetic bond as well. I don't know if many people are there like that who share that kind of a bond, but still we disagree on many things. It doesn't mean that there is lack of love. And the problem with conflict is it arises when one person or the other or both want to control the other person to experience life as they experience it. That's where control comes. Like, for example, I want to sleep at 8 o'clock at night, and therefore I want my partner to sleep at 8 o'clock at night. I want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, therefore I want my partner to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That is not really love. Love is an acceptance of the other person as they are. And this is where I feel there is a lot of conflict, because many students I talk to, they have relationship problems and things like that. And I would always ask them, but did you not see these signs before? And very often the common answer I always get is, oh, I thought I can change my partner. I thought I can
Mm-hmm.
change my husband. I thought I can change the behavior of my wife, etc. That is not right. That is a disaster. That is an
Yes.
absolute disaster, because you cannot even change yourself completely. You can't change another person at all, because even your change is not always in your control. There's also the presence of a divine who is controlling the changes that are going on in your system. So you have no power to change somebody else. And this is the delusion that people have. That is where the conflict arises. That's where
Mm-hmm.
the conflict arises. I love cricket. I cannot expect my partner, my wife, to love cricket. If she likes it, it's great. If she doesn't like it, it's okay. But I cannot control saying just because I like cricket, you also have to like cricket. That is a recipe for disaster. If the connection is truly there, then we don't need to control. That is the problem.
But it's listening to you, I am thinking like, so we are looking actually for ourselves in other. So we are searching as a mirror for ourselves in another person, in our partner.
And now you are talking a little bit more about the romantic love.
Yes.
Now, the way I understand, and I want to completely, what you call, qualify it by saying that the way I understand,
Okay.
it's my feeling that we human beings, we are not complete in ourselves. There are some gaps at the conscious level,
Yes.
at the subconscious level, that needs to be filled. And when we find that romantic love, it's where in the subconscious level, especially, that these gaps are filling, because what you lack, your partner has, what your partner lacks, you have, and somehow it fits. Not necessarily at the surface level, but more deeply at a subconscious level. And this has been my experience. And that is where what I have realized is that when you discover this love, this romantic love, when these pieces start to fit, that love, that romantic love, is not governed mainly by passion, but mainly by peace. Because the
Right.
moment you feel complete, you feel at
Yeah.
peace. And this has been my experience in the last 2 years of my life, where I have this great sense of peace that I did not have before. And that is where I know that I am really in that moment where I have found my partner. Not because there is excitement, that is one part of life, passion
Yeah.
is one part of the romantic relationship as well, an integral part. You cannot deny that passion and physical intimacy is a very, very important part of the relationship. But more important than that is the subconscious connections where one completes the other. And this is my experience, this is my view. And that's why I feel that people must not judge a relationship based on how passionate they feel, but more about how complete they feel. Because passion can go up and down depending on the phase of the moon. Because it's like that's why
Yes.
the moon chant. Some moments you have a lot of passion during the phase of the moon. Some moments in life there is less passion, and this is normal. During stressful times, your passion may be up, sorry, down. During joyful times, your passion may be up. This is normal. But what will sustain the relationship is that unconscious connections. And that's why I keep saying that it's my view that we are not complete in ourselves. Nature did not make us complete in ourselves. And that's why we need to have other people to fill that gap. And I use that word very carefully. We need other people to fill that gap.
Very good. Yeah. This is very, very profound. We started already. Yeah.
I hope
So,
so.
as usual, yeah. So, all the listeners, what Kausthub actually said is that okay, passion is part of the romantic love, but when we are in peace with that person and when we feel complete, then this is, let's say, the right partner. Then the gaps are filled in subconscious. It's
And,
very good.
and, and passion does not mean only like sexual passion or
Yeah.
desire passion. Passion can also include anger. Like sometimes you will argue with your
Mhm.
partner this is normal. I mean, if you don't have any argument at all, something is wrong, because no two people will always agree on everything all the time throughout life.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't exist. So passion is not only about sexual passion, but passion also means like emotionally charged circumstances like arguments and things like
Yeah.
that, which is very important in relationship as well, because that tests the relationship.
Yeah. So, but why, for example, Kausthub, some people, they so difficult, it's so difficult for them to fall in love.
I have been reflecting about this based on what I would call the phenomena of missed chances, not only for me, but for many people I work with. And what I have realized is, just because you wish something, it doesn't mean that that will manifest.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I wish to have some tea, so that my voice is warm, my throat is warm, and I can talk well. But just because I wish it, it doesn't mean that it's going to appear on my table.
Yeah.
So, love, just because you wish it, it's not going to appear on the table. You have to take some efforts. And the one biggest effort that we have to take in love is to open our heart. And this is what I feel is the biggest problem in the modern era, because many people want to operate relationship from the head, not from the heart. Because when you open your heart, you become vulnerable, because love or a romantic or intimate relationship will open the door for self-reflection, which means you will come face to face with your fears, your vulnerabilities, your patterns. I don't know my patterns until somebody is close to me and recognizes my pattern.
Exactly.
Say, hey,
Yeah.
you know that you are doing this every day, and that everyday person has to be your partner. And you may be oblivious to it because you're used to your pattern, but then somebody comes on and says, hey, this is what you are doing, then it becomes a threat. So, for
Yeah.
example, I've
Exactly.
told somebody in the past that who is, let's say, a missed chance or a missed opportunity, that, when I spent some days with that person, I said, you are a control freak. And that person freaked out, but I could point out all the signs in the house and the way the way the person is living, that she was a control freak, but she could not confront that reality, and was running away. So people, and now that person is regretting, and it's sometimes it's a very interesting phenomena. We always want to have what we cannot have, but we don't want to put the efforts to have what we really want to have. And that's why the challenge in having love in our life is the freedom and the fearlessness to open our heart. And I feel very strongly that those who are able to love are very brave. Those who have a lot of fear cannot really open their hearts fully to be in love. It doesn't mean fear of a spider or fear of losing your job or things like that. It's the fear to face oneself.
Yeah.
That's the fear I'm talking about. I'm not talking about other kinds of fear, like, I'm afraid of a spider, or I'm afraid of heights, or I'm afraid of a waterfall, or things like that. That's not what I'm talking about, just to be clear.
Yes. Fear of.
Look inside and accept what is inside, because we have to have that trust that just like we expect, we will accept our partner with their faults. We have to have that trust that our partner will accept us with our faults. We don't need to be perfect. And that is part of the problem in modern day romance as well, because a lot of the people, when they want to court their partner, and that's the word I don't like, they put on their best side. the guy is the prince, the girl is the princess, or there is two princess or two prince, depending on what is the nature of their sexual orientation. They put on that mask and they are like, oh, I'm so good, I'm so good, I'm so good. And then they kind of get into a contract based on this princess meets prince. And then when they start coming closer together, the mask of the princess and the mask of the prince wears off. And then they are saying, oh shit, what did I do? And that's the problem. And then nobody wants to repeat that relationship, the concept, and they just go and hide into their cave. And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So in our previous interviews, we talked a lot about the emotions. And we also pointed out the ABC of the emotions and pointed out in the end the fabulous four. Yeah. So when these emotions, they over flooded us in a relationship, in romantic relationship. So, and we in the end can't even feel love anymore because of all these emotions that we are trapped in. What to do?
What you're asking is a very fascinating question, and I want to answer it through a metaphor.
Yeah.
The waves are part of the ocean, but the waves are not the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean?
I
So
understand.
emotions are definitely part of love. There's no doubt about it. Without emotions, that we have love is not going to be a proof. We can't have a what do you call, a witness or a proof that there is love. But we must not confuse emotions to be love, because emotions are passing phases. And that's why I gave you the example of the waves in the ocean and the connection to the moon.
Yeah.
Because on certain days of the moon, the waves are big, and on certain days of the moon, the waves are just silent. The ocean is not defined by the waves. The ocean is beyond the waves, but they are definitely, the waves are part of the ocean. And that is what is the same with love as well, that love has to have a place for honest emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Honest
Exactly.
emotions, all kinds of emotions, not only positive, but also negative, like fear, like
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, like sadness, like grief, as well as passion, happiness, joy, all those kind of things as well. It has to have that. But it must not be defined by that. We must let go of these emotions once they have passed. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is when these emotions are happening, it's like when the waves are high and they bang the earth, the shore, it leaves a mark. It's kind of like very hard. It hits the earth very hard. And this could hurt the earth. But the earth is so beautiful, it does not hold that against the wave, it just lets the wave retreat. The same way, even if emotions hurt us, we must learn to let it go, especially if it's coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
If it's coming from a place of intentional hurt, if it's
Mm-hmm.
coming from a place of manipulation, if it's coming from a place of lack of love, lack of connection, a lot of the people I know, they get into relationship because they want to escape their family, or they don't know what they want from life and things like that. Then they start families, they have children, one child, two child, then they build a house, then they get a dog and things like that. Then they realize that the love is not working because the prince and the princess mask is wearing off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a sustainable relationship, and they have difficulty in quitting that relationship because all these other packages are involved, and that is one of the big problems for depression, anxiety, and other kinds of disorders, even health disorders, because the people can no longer be themselves with their partner. They can no longer, so then they start to have secret lives, when they start to resent their partner secretly in
Mhm.
their heart. Oh, my partner is boring, but he doesn't beat me, so let me continue in this relationship. That's not healthy, because then you are eating into your conscience, because love is always expansive energy. That means you don't love yourself. Love is always about expansion. Love is never about contraction. And that is one of the signs that you need to look for in a relationship, in any relationship, whether that's based on love or not, but whether you're with your family member like mother, father, uncle, auntie, brother, sister, or a romantic partner. If in the long term, I'm not meaning one day, if it's in the long term, consistently you are becoming more and more contracted, energetically you are becoming depleted, that is not based on love. That's based on maybe attachment, that's based on marriage, that's based on contract, etc. Marriage can exist without love, and love can also exist without marriage. And there are innumerable circumstances in this world where we see both. A lot of the time, I see lots and lots of people, they're in a marriage, they want to save the marriage, but that's the wrong language as well. They don't need to save the marriage, they just need to nourish the love. The marriage will get saved. But the problem is, there's no love to nourish. And that's
Mhm. Yes, great. But so it's very important for us when we are in a relationship to make time and space for express our emotions, and that the emotion can go as a wave, and we let go of the emotions, and then the love can persist and stay. Yeah.
I would say that very simple, it's about priorities.
Yeah.
That's all. Time and space are always about priorities. The earth did not become bigger from the time of my grandfather to now. In fact, many people say it's become smaller because we can travel much more easier. And time did not change. We still have 24 hours a day. My grandfather had only 24 hours a day as well. My ancestors had 24 hours a day. It never changed. But somehow we don't seem to have time for the most important things, because we are so busy with things that are not so important. We are not making the time for what is important. And that's priority. And if there is love, there will be a priority. Your priorities will be clear.
So this is one of the, let's say, mature approach for dissolving, let's say, future conflicts, or for the our relationship to grow, to have a energy boost. Yeah.
Yes, I think that the mature way is to redefine our priorities of the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
asking each other, talking to each other very openly about
Openly. Yeah.
our
Mm-hmm.
priorities, and actually what is it that we can do about it, and what is it that we cannot do about it. This
Mm-hmm.
is very, very important to consider. And we have to face it. And for example, I was married to a German lady in the past, and at some point we started seeing that our life was going in slightly different directions. So actually, it was very good, because we both took the time to sit together face to face with only a pen and paper, and said, let's write down what each other's priorities are and what each other's expectations are, and see if we can somehow work it out together. And we were very open and honest about it, and we did that exercise, and we could come to an agreement towards the end that, well, what you are expecting from me and what I'm expecting from you does not really manifest. So let's bring a closure to this relationship, because this is something that is not working. And that's why, even though we are separated, we are still very, very good friends and very dear friends. And she's happily married now to somebody else, which is, I'm very happy for her. But the concept is that the priorities were discussed. It was
Mm-hmm.
not about material things like, oh, when you separate, what books do you get, what this do you get, what that you get, what that. That's not That's the problem. The problem is many people think that priorities means material priorities.
Yes.
Priorities are something much more bigger than this. And that's why it's very important. If you have to resolve conflict in a relationship, we need to ask ourselves, what are the priorities we are working on? Are we still working on the same priorities which brought us together?
Yes. But first, we need to know our priorities, at least to be self-aware. Yeah,
That's why I told you, you need to go into your heart. You need
exactly.
to really reflect deep inside your heart, what is it that you want?
So this is, let's say, one of the very important thing to know before we go into relationship. Is there any other suggestion you will say to us before we go into the relationship? What to know, what to let's say reflect on us? Yeah. So first is, let's say, which are my priorities? Yeah.
See, it's a very delicate question because the word relationship means so many things for so many people. Are you meaning a relationship like a romantic relationship, or are you meaning a marriage? They are two different things.
Explain us, Kausthub. Yes.
Like marriage is basically a contract, and it can exist without without love, and it can exist with love. But love is, as I said, an acknowledgement of the divine in each other, and a commitment to sustain that connection of the divine within each other. And marriage is to usually to raise a family, to bring some kind of security. And if you look at most governments in the world, they force people to marry for the sake of certain benefits like medical insurance or tax benefits, or so and so and this and that, property inheritance and things like that. That's marriage. Now, that marriage can be based on love. It need not be based on love. And I've seen examples of both in so many cases around the world. So that's a totally different ball game. My focus is that we focus on love. And if that is what we need to focus on, then what we need to have first and foremost is a clarity of what is it that we want in our life, what is our dharma in our life, because our life dharma is going to shape the destiny of our life. My dharma is committed to the teachings of my ancestor who are literally behind me. All those books, most of them are literally from my ancestors, and I also feel energetically they are behind me.
Yeah.
So my life dharma is very clear. So when I am looking for a partner, that's the first thing I'm going to communicate about is, hey, listen, this is my life dharma.
Yeah.
This is in the direction I'm going in. I don't want you to change my life dharma. You don't. I don't even need you to accept my life dharma as your dharma. But what I need is that you need to accept that this is my path, and you don't take this path away from me, or you don't bring conflict to me to do and fulfill my duty and obligation to my path. That's the important thing. It doesn't mean that my partner should do exactly the same thing as I do, but my partner should not try to drag me out of this dharma. This is very important because our life is defined by also the love to ourselves. And fulfilling our life purpose is the most important way that we love ourselves. And if we don't love ourselves, it's very unfair to ask somebody else to love us. It's almost like, if I know that this product is defective, why would I want somebody to buy this product? So if I know that I don't care about me, I don't love me, why would I want somebody to love me, to care about me? And that is where the first starting point comes. Love is not easy. It
Yes.
is very hard because we need to really define ourselves. And that's why I would like to tell people to take their time to fall in love, not to be in a hurry.
Yes.
To take the time when what I mean is not to like think that, oh, I have to cross certain milestones at certain times in my life, like I have to get married by 28 and I have to have 3 children by 35 and I have to have two
Mm-hmm.
houses by 45 and by 60 I should retire. Take time, because only when you find yourself you will find your love. Otherwise it's a disaster. I don't
Wow. Yes.
know. I don't know what our audience are thinking. They all became very quiet.
Yes. Are you still there? They are reflecting their love life, their romantic life. Can you share with us your thoughts? Would be very nice to know, is your romantic love, as Kausthub said, based on the self-love?
And that's why I feel that I'm in a very good state of peace, because
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
in love at this stage of my life where I know completely myself and my dharma, and I'm actually in peace with my dharma, and therefore
Yeah,
working very well. Whereas in the past, there was some confusion, there was some conflicts, and that is also why it did not work very well. And I think that is the most important thing that I would like to advise people, young people especially, or anybody, for instance, before they just want to be in a relationship because they feel incomplete, is to actually know themselves first,
yes,
know their purpose in life. And this is very, very important. And our job is not our purpose. I
yeah,
would still do the same thing that I'm doing now, even if I'm not getting paid for this.
even.
For me,
Mhm.
this is my job, is not my dharma. My
Yeah,
dharma is beyond my job. So, to me, people confuse it to profession, because
yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
sure if I will ever retire from
Yeah,
the path of my ancestor. You
yeah.
know, it's
What about
yeah.
So what about the people, for example, that they, let's say, know their dharma and they're working on themselves and they have, let's say, approach of self-love, but there's still this romantic love missing. What could be?
This I see in many people. There are certainly a lot of examples I know, and you
You
know.
know, okay, great.
My feeling is that many of these people I know, and their ego has been hurt
Mhm.
through certain traumas, and therefore, even though they are very clear about their dharma and their purpose, they have not opened that key to the in the heart to allow for the energy of love to flow to a
Mhm.
romantic partner. They may have that energy flowing to their life dharma,
Mhm.
but they are not allowing that energetic flow to a partner. It's like this, right? If you have a house, you have a door to the house, you close the door. You open it only to those people who you are feeling safe and comfortable to come in. Like, for example, if
Yeah,
you came to my house, I would open the door for you because you're my friend. If my family members came, I would open the door to them because they're my family members. But if a stranger comes, or if somebody who I feel will hurt me will come, I will not open the door. I will just talk through the little, what do you call, the hole through which I
oh
look
yeah,
at.
yeah,
"Hey, what do you want?" So in
yes,
one way, I'm looking out, but in another way, I'm not opening the door to let somebody in. And that is what I have seen, that many people are a bit lost in this, where even though there is a part of them wishing for love, the heart is wishing for it, the mind has locked the door to the heart and lost the key as well.
And
So,
lost the key. Okay.
and so they are not really opening
Yeah.
this, because the ego is a very strong structure. The
So
ego is a very strong structure.
so it's the fear, the ego of also let's say, as you said before, of accepting these lost parts or filling up these gaps. It's also the unknown. Who am I then when I feel these gaps inside my subconscious? Yeah.
It's mostly unknown.
Yeah.
It's mostly unknown because we don't know much about our unconscious structure. And it's funny because many people think that, oh, we have to have intellectual compatibility. That's
Yeah.
one small part of it, but that intellectual compatibility can change. What will not change is that subconscious connection, compatibility, and connection. That is the foundation.
Mhm.
That's the foundation, and that is where I still go back to that point.
Yeah.
Some amount of physical intimacy plays an important role, because a lot of things in our subconscious structure connect to the Swadhisthana chakra, Muladhara chakra, these chakras, the lower chakras. And I think that is very, very important. But that's not the only thing, because there's importance in other dimensions as well, but that's a very important
Yeah.
aspect as well. And that is what happens to a lot of people in certain societies, like in India or in Asian countries, where after one or two children are delivered, many couples in a marriage, they slowly disconnect from physical intimacy, and
Mhm.
relationship doesn't work. And physical intimacy does not always have to have sexual relationship. It even things like hugging, touching, walking together on the beach, holding hands, sharing a juice together with two straws and things like that. Those are intimate connections that we need to have with our partner, if the love is there, if the love has to be sustained.
Yeah. So sounds like you're a very romantic man, Kausthub.
Of
You're
course,
drinking juice from one cup, one glass with two straws. Oh my gosh.
of course. It's, if you are
Very good. Yeah.
it's if you are in love, it's impossible to be unromantic.
Yes, exactly. So I think we will talk about the physical intimacy in a very, very near future in one of the
Oh,
our. So guys, you know what is the next topic?
oh God.
Oh God, Kaustubh,
God.
you're switching off Earth. You're switching
I,
internet.
I will only accept this topic if my teacher, Sarah Ryan, politeness teacher, Sarah Ryan, approves it.
Yeah, Sarah, we are waiting for your approval. Approval of the next topic about the physical intimacy. I promise you it will be very polite. So, Kaustubh, a question is maybe also sometimes or many times, let's say, we fall in love in many people, like maybe two, three people that we love romantically. I'm talking, yeah. But some people they think that just one soulmate. Is this like really existing, or how should we say about it?
Monogamy is a choice. I choose monogamy, but it is not something that is natural to everybody in this world. There are so many examples in history of human beings where monogamy or polyamory is natural. You
Yeah.
take, for example, if you have to accept people's sexual orientation.
Mhm.
Now, we say that some people are heterosexual, some people are um, homosexual, and some people are bisexual. Now, the moment you say somebody is bisexual, and if you have to accept it, that means you have to accept that they have the possibility to have sex with a man as well as a woman. Now, if it's natural for them, who are you and me to judge that? We have to accept it. So, whether somebody is monogamous or polygamous is a choice. I choose monogamy, but that doesn't mean that I want to propagate that to the whole world. I don't want to become a fanatic because other people's love life or other people's sexual orientation is none of my business. My business is what is my orientation, what is my choices, and that is what I would like to focus on. But it is very natural, and we have seen many, many examples in human history, and even in yogis, for example, people like Yajnavalkya, for example, who had two soulmates, Gargi and Maitreyi, and it was perfectly natural. There's no division of things like that. But what was important there is there was integrity, which meant that there was no secrecy that Yajnavalkya had these two partners. They were very open. And now, if they were open and all of them are accepting of that, then who are you and me to judge it? The problem with many people today is we want to engage in polygamy or multiple relationship, but we want to keep it secret. That is contracting. Because when you keep a secret, your voice has to contract, your feelings have to contract. That's not love. Whereas if you're open about it and everybody is accepting of it, then there's no problem. But that's the challenge. You cannot really have the polygamy or polyamory or whatever you want to call it, multiple relationship, but with secrecy. That is not love. That's lust.
Yeah.
That's desire.
Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah. Wow, very good. Yeah. So you can have multiple soulmates as long as you are talking about openly and not in secret. Exactly. Yeah. So
And one more thing, as long
yeah,
as you're open,
yeah,
as long as you are open to taking the consequences of such a choice. See, every choice or lack of choice has consequences. So
yes,
you can't say, I want to choose that, but I don't want the consequences of that choice. If you take such a situation
yes,
and you accept it, but you don't want the consequences, that's not fair. So you need to have these two things. There has to be absolute openness, no secrets. And the second thing is we have to face the consequences. Not all consequences will be pleasurable of such kind of choices.
yes. So I think we had one question, guys. If you want to ask Kausthub about love, romantic love.
Everybody is silenced.
Yes, Balaji, is it right? Balaji asked.
Dr. Balaji.
Dr. Balaji, welcome. Dr. Balaji asked, after parents, we love our guru, and after grown up, we give more love and preference to wife and children. Is this acceptable or being partially or like selfish feeling?
And this is where the question about love not being limited to one person comes in. A mother, if she has two children or three children, she's going to love all the children. Right? So, the same way we can have love to our father, our mother, our children, our guru, our friends equally. There is no problem. But all those are fitting in one box. But who is that person with whom you're going to be the most intimate with for a long time in your life? That is your partner. And that, of course, will need to be nourished a little bit more than perhaps other relationships in certain moments of time. Like when you have a child, obviously you have to dedicate a lot of love to the child. Maybe there the partner may feel a bit lacking of that love that was there previously, but it's normal because the young child needs that attention. Now, we must again not confuse attention to love. As the child becomes older and is adult and is going on its own path, the love between the couple becomes more of the priority once again. And that's how life works. That's why I said it goes all these things like emotions, um, attachments, affection, attention. All these are things that will go up and down. Just because somebody is not paying attention to me or to you, etc., it doesn't mean that there is no love. You can still have love if you're not necessarily paying all the attention all the time to the partner. But that's where the priorities come back. We must make some time in our daily, regular life to give attention, affection, and care a priority to our partner,
Yeah.
whatever form that takes.
To create time and space for that, for the relationship. Yeah.
And
It's
I
right.
also feel that if you really experience that love to somebody, you will never lose it.
Yeah. So yes, and
If you lose it, it means that there was not the love, it was an attachment. My father died many years ago, 5 years ago approximately. I still feel a lot of love towards him, even though he's not physically present. So I'm never going to lose that love. I'm never going to lose my love to him or his love to me. And it's something that is a what do you call, a proof that this love was very, very real. And it doesn't mean that we always had the easiest of relationship. We had sometimes very challenging relationship as well. But it doesn't mean that the love was not there. So love is something that is not going to wither away over time. If it withers away, it wasn't love. I know some students also whose husbands or wives have died, but they still feel that love of the partner even though the person is dead. And this is very, very remarkable. And that's a sign that that relationship was forged by the bonds of love and not by just an attachment.
mhm. So with that, I think you answered also Erica's question.
Whose question?
Erica's question, she lost her husband and also son, and still she feels love. Is this part of the eternal love?
Yeah, it's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to qualify something as eternal love and something as non eternal love because, in my understanding, and again, I sincerely say that it's my understanding, people don't have to agree with me. For me, love is an eternal principle. You cannot break love.
Yeah.
And that's why I also say that you can have love towards multiple people, even those from whom you have separated, because that is love. That is love. People you have separated from, people you have lost. That is love. But it just takes another form. Maybe you're not having the same behavior with such people from whom you were separated, but there is still a lot of love which is based on respect, based on care, etc. And this is what I say. So if she has lost her husband and she still feels that, it's because of love. I don't want to call it eternal and qualify because it's a redundant word.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Okay.
redundant word. It's not
So
necessary.
yes. So Kaustubh, what do you think in the end, like in fairy tale, will love conquer the world?
I don't think so.
No.
It's too simplistic to say that
Mm-hmm.
because the world is a dual world. The
Yeah.
duality is real. So if love is existing, the opposite of love is also existing, that is disconnection. So there'll be moments where love will dominate, there'll be moments where disconnection will dominate. And right now, when we see the world as it's going, we are living in a world that is mostly disconnected. That doesn't mean that there is not love as an example here or there. It's like the majority of the world is living in a state of disconnection. So we are now conquered by disconnection. Whereas maybe there will be a time that will come in the future where love will dominate. And that will be a time which maybe we will experience, maybe our children or their children will experience, we don't know. But to say that love conquers all, that's a misunderstanding of that statement. What I would interpret in that is when you experience love, all the other things become very trivial.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what I feel. And through my experience in my life, where when love is dominating, all other things become secondary. It's not so important. So it conquers all these lower feelings,
Mm-hmm.
lower situations. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, when you know that you have love and you have a partner to whom you can go and give a hug, it doesn't matter whether the house you're living in disappears, the car that you have doesn't exist, you still have that love of that partner.
Yes.
That's the
Wow. Very
blanket.
nice.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
blanket that will protect you. It's your kavacham. And
Yeah.
we are very, very blessed and lucky to if we can experience that. And it's a beautiful feeling.
It's a beautiful feeling. This is very nice ending of this conversation. So thank you very much all for listening on this interview with Dr. Kausthub Desikachar about love and conflicts in love. So please join us on our next interview, which will be in 2 weeks. And I think that Sarah, you wrote which means yes, go for it. So probably I think we will have the interview about physical intimacy. So join
Talk
us
to Sarah first privately.
Yes, join us in 2 weeks. And in the end, Kaustu, please, thank you very much for this, all your teachings. And again, you will chant for us now a lovely chant to end this interview. Thank you, guys, and see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. What I want to chant is a chant that is trying to um, express the feeling we may have when we experience the divine. And this is a very beautiful chant. And because love is about a connection from the divine in our heart, this is what I would like to chant just now. एतत् सामगायन्नास्ते Ahamanna Ahamanna Ahamannam Ahamannado Hamannadaha Ahagashloka Dahagashloka Dahagashloka Ahamasmi prathamajam ratasya urvandevebhyo amritasya na bhaye yo ma dadati sa edeva ma vaha ahamanna manna madanta madme aham vishvam bhuvanamabhyabhavam Suvarna Jyote Ya Evam Veda Etyopanishat Hare Om Shanti 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 Namaste.
Namaste.